Obviously, I think at some point in anybody's life path, they've lived in a production home, a home that's been built by a production builder. And the mindset for their cabinetry is totally different than luxury cabinetry and custom built-ins. You know, they're just trying to get something in there to check a box and to make the home sellable.
Yeah.
It's very different than somebody who's actually taking a lot of foresight and forethought into how is this space going to be lived in, how are the appliances working and functioning with each other, ultimately making that as pleasant of a space to live in as possible, and also just tying everything together. We could go through any production home and there's going to be a lot of filler strips, there's going to be a lot of gaps that aren't necessary. There's going to be a lot of things where a builder's just going to chintz out on because he's trying to make a budget.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's different than approaching cabinetry from a custom viewpoint.
Well, what's interesting is until you know the difference, most people don't know the difference. Like if I brought in 100 people, most people know this until you get to the higher end stuff. And we get into luxury stuff, and then you start going, oh yeah, I know there's the difference between an inset cabinet and a full overlay cabinet, or a Euro cabinet. And those things matter when you start getting to the custom high end stuff because the details are so important, at least to us as a company.
For sure.
Because it's beauty.
Yeah, and I've even been in custom high-end homes where you could tell they're just slapping something in.
Correct.
And there's a difference between somebody who
And it drives us nuts.
took some time to think about it.
It drives you and I nuts. It's so crazy to think, we've been into some homes, you're like, this is a $7 million home, and they put in cheap cabinets. And our minds are like, how do they get away with this type of thing? And so for us, I think that, you know, as a company, we really pride ourselves on the artistry of it all because we have really good in-house carpenters. When we put in these custom cabinets, it's a piece of art for us. It's a piece of almost like a custom piece of furniture for us. This is not a bunch of cheap plywood that we're throwing together and slapping on something and being like, yeah, it's good enough, you know? So when it comes to the custom stuff, to me, it's a piece of art. And there's nothing wrong with doing lower end cabinets because we do that all the time as well, and we can make them look beautiful. But there is a difference between custom and an RTA cabinet, for sure.
Yeah, something that's well designed and well thought out makes a huge difference.
And so would you recommend putting custom cabinetry into a basic track home?
You can, yeah, absolutely. It depends on your price range and what your objective is. It's not wrong to put in something super nice that you're gonna love to live in and touch.
Yeah, and you've done that in your home.
Yeah.
I love that. Something that we do as a company that I think is pretty cool and creative is we can sometimes combine. So we can do a more affordable line, but then add a custom feature to it or add like a custom island to it. So it makes we almost combine the two so that we can keep the budget at a minimal cost and yet still get that custom vibe. And I love how we do that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that requires a better set of skilled carpentry to tie those things together.
Yeah, and I love how we'll put end panels on certain things to make it look more built in. And there's certain little tricks that we do that I think are awesome.